Alright guys, today we're going to be doing a Starrett level vial replacement. So let's get to it. Alright everybody, welcome back to the old iron shop. Alright guys, here's all the parts and supplies, tools and everything we'll need to fix this Starrett 9812 level that I've been trying to work on. I got some Durham's putty. Normally they call for plaster of Paris. I don't have that, but this will work. And we're going to cut it half and half with flour, which will make it weaker because you want to be able to dig it out. The guy who did this the last time used like epoxy, and that was no fun to dig out of there. Anyway, I got the vial here. Here's the part number. You can read that. It's PT15024. And you can get that on Amazon. I'll put a link down the bottom in the description. It's about $26, and I think it's even free shipping, so not a bad deal. Anyway, had to order these things here. And these are Teflon springs, and the way it's supposed to work, you're supposed to roll them up and stick them inside of here. And then this piece is supposed to go inside of it. But I tried and tried and tried. And I don't know what the story is here, if this is something slightly different or what, but it will not fit in there. So I kind of found another way. I cut it a little bit shorter. I think we can make it work with less in there. I'm not sure why it's like that, but that's just the problem I'm having. Another thing you're going to need is some paper to go behind the vial. And I bought a piece of it's like acid-free paper, like archive quality paper from the hobby store. I got another piece of it right here. And it's got a really nice pattern, but I tried to find one that had the least, least color so it wouldn't show through, the way it's nice and white on that side. All right, so the first thing you're going to need to do, if you're working on one of these, is you're going to have a broken vial in here. So you got to disassemble this whole carrier here. And, it's easy enough to get it off of the base. And what you're going to have to do is lock one side probably in a vise or something like that and get a hold of the other side with a pair of pliers or something like that. But try to get something that's going to protect it, some leather or something like that. Worked pretty good. Anyway, then you're going to pull it. And one side is always a little tighter than the other. So that side there will come out first. So when you go to slide this thing off, remember now there's supposed to be a Teflon spring inside of here, and it's just to give drag to this. This thing spins really free, right? Be careful when you slide this off, you don't drop it and lose them. I guess that's a common problem. I didn't have mine in this one here because somebody lost them the last time they were replacing it. Anyway, once you got one side out, you don't want to try to grab hold of this. You might crush this tube or distort it. You don't want to do anything like that. So just work at breaking out this vial and find a drill bit or something like that that will just fit inside of here, and you can kind of bore out. Hopefully they're using plaster or something like that. You can kind of just work that out of there. Use a punch maybe at the very end, knock out the bottom of the vial. That should work. That's what happened. What I did. Once you got it out, then you can, if you can't get a hold of this and pull it out, you could use a punch and just slide a punch all the way through, and just tap it out, and it should come out without too much trouble. So that's how that's assembled. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do once you get it all disassembled and cleaned up, let me go and move all this stuff out of the way. You need to take your vial and just make sure it'll pass through here, right? See, it just slides right through easy. It can't be binding up on junk that's left in the side of there. If it doesn't go through easy, get back inside of here. There's probably just some little bit of junk that didn't come out. Just got to make sure it's really good and clean. And then the next thing, I already made mine up, but get your paper. And for mine, it took 2 layers of this stuff in particular. Maybe you can get away with 1 or less, I don't know. And then slide this in there. And a pencil helps a lot. So now I've got that in there. And there's a couple of little dents in here that kind of seem to help register that. I'm quite a bit shorter than that, I think, but I don't know. Anyway. And then this vial should just fit right in there real nice. See? It slides in, but it doesn't fall out. Well, famous last words, right? Okay, so now we need to get ready to mix up our plaster. Alright, so before you mix up your plaster, make sure this thing is lined up in there right. And again, you want to make sure it's sort of centered in this rotation, you know, where your graduation marks line up in the opening. We look pretty good that way. And then also, you know, longitudinally, make sure it's set up that way. And when you put it in, you have kind of one last chance to sort of make sure everything's good. So I'll set this aside for just a second. Mix up this plaster here. There's the last chance. Get that lined up good. I think that looks good. All right, I'm going to go grab a Q-tip and clean up the ends of this tube real quick before it sets. Okay, well, it's been 24 hours and this stuff is, at least it's solid. Adding the flour to it really extended the curing time. But this is solid enough now that I feel safe, you know, bedding the other side here. So, I don't know if we can get a shot in there. Yeah, you can kind of see, we can get it lined up. There's a little plug in there, but it's kind of, you know, ran out a little bit, but that's okay. All the way around the glass on that side, it's all bedded in, so that's all we need. It ain't gonna go nowhere. So, let's get the old Durham's putty out and go back to mixing up some more. It's the next day again. So the plaster here is all set up now. I put a little bit less flour into the last mix. Maybe a quarter of it was flour, and 75% of it was a Durham's putty. That seemed to set a little bit faster. So anyway. The next order of business here is we need to put the plugs into the carrier here, and simultaneously we need to put the guard here on, and we need to put one of these little pieces of Teflon inside of this. And when this goes together, it's really important that these ears, you know, they're flat. They need to be parallel to each other. So that's what I've got my poor man's surface plate here. This is just a piece of granite backsplash, but I've got that and a couple of, you know, these are ground tool bits. They're pretty good in parallel, and, you know, they're not rocking on here. So this should work good enough for this job. They recommend doing it on like 1, 2, 3 blocks on a surface plate, but, you know, not everybody has that. Certainly I don't. Anyway, so the first step here, we'll start with the, one of them, you know, has that little dish spot for the hemispherical washer. We'll start with the other side, and I don't think it really doesn't matter. I just want to try to eyeball it here a little bit, but I'm not going to put it in there far enough to really lock it up, you know. And then I'll just set this other one in here. And remember, we're not trying to seat this just yet. What I kind of want to try to do, I want this opening to be parallel with the ends of these things. And I really don't have a good recommendation on how you should do that. Except just try to do it by eye. I suppose the level here. Let's see how level my table is. Yeah, I think that'll probably work all right. All right, and I can see that this one here wants to go in first, so you know it's going to go in easy. So remember, I got to get that one back out because I still got to put this thing on. So I'm just going to slip this side in. That one's bedded all the way down now. So I'm going to come over here, pull that one back out. And then the trick here is you got to hold this little piece in here. You kind of need 3 hands for this. And we're going to leave a little bit of a tail sticking out. Now those should just roll up inside of there. I don't really know why this one doesn't seem to want to work like that, but that is the way this one's going to have to go. Alright, nice and snug. Now once I get down here, I'm just going to use a razor knife and trim that off. I wish I had a better way of doing this, but okay. Now we can push that guy in there all the way. All right, so now we need to put this on, and this dish shape needs to go down. And we'll just sort of start that in there. And well, you can see I'm off a mile there. I'll kind of line it up. And I'm going to hold this down and push that on there. So see, right here, any ticking, there's no rocking here. So now we should be able to just push this home. All right. Alright, I hope you found that helpful. In the next video, I'll show you how to mount it to the body and calibrate the level. I've seen people ask how much it costs to have it sent off and done. That you don't need to do that. You can do it right in your own shop. It's very easy. Anyway, if you enjoyed seeing this kind of content, why don't you click on the old horizontal mill, and please consider joining my Patreon.